All righty. Order the White Council Special Council meeting. We all rise to say the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. You're on Zoom too, do a pledge of allegiance. I'm good, all right. Very good. All right.
Most everybody's good.
Yep. This meeting details have been placed on the agenda to allow the council and staff and the public to participate in the meeting via teleconference. To the governor's executive order N-29-20. Public access, the county chambers at this time. If you want to join, you can join through via Zoom. You may digitally raise your hand and wait to be unmuted for the order to speak. During this call, press *9 to raise your hand to ask to speak during the meeting. Speakers will identify themselves and all that stuff. If you want to state your name and where your address is. This is time for public comments. Council may ask questions, but may take no action during the public comment section of this meeting, except to refer to staff that they have prepared a report or place it on an item on the future agenda. If you're here for make a comments on a specific item on the agenda, this is all workshops. This really doesn't have anything very on that. So 5 minutes. All righty. We'll start off with this.
And you were, I think that one of the questions that came up in the answer to speak by some of the people that are participating is whether they would be able to speak at other times during the workshop.
Yes.
And I think the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to state here too, that we're going to start this off.
Sharon, Barney.
Join
the meeting.
If Arthur, if you could unmute one at a time on the screen and ask them, and I'm going to ask them to identify themselves and who they're part of and what their function is.
Okay.
This meeting. I'd really like to hear that. So we're going to start you off out there. You got who gentlemen?
Well, I think they get to read themselves, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So why don't you just start in the upper left hand corner with Cliff Munson?
Yep, Cliff Munson, and why you're here. You don't mind?
I'm the CEO at the Siskiyou Golden Fairgrounds, and I got an invite from Corey Hayden, so I decided I would join.
All right.
Good. All right, we'll go over to Nancy.
Hi, I'm Nancy Ogren, Siskiyou County Supervisor, District 4, and I was invited by Joan and Tanya.
And we go to Corey. Oops, not
Can't hear
muted.
you. You're muted. Unmute.
There we
Can
go.
you guys hear me now?
Uh-oh.
Mute yours.
Councilmember Freeman, would you mute your, thank you. Yeah.
Maybe bring off your volume.
I prefer the Zoom. Disconnect audio. No.
It would be however you normally turn it off.
I know. Oh, there it is.
Mute and
Unmute. They're unmuted. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
try it again, Corey.
Okay, how's this?
Yeah, a little bit.
My name is Corey Hayden, and I work for the Siskiyou EDC, and I'm here in my role with SBDC Services and SRN.
So Corey, it's because my.
Can't hear things she's saying. Can't hear things she's saying.
I don't know, she's echoing pretty bad.
Found us up here. I don't, mine off. I've got unmuted.
Let's.
You don't believe me. See that?
No, you are muted. Yep.
I hear and hear.
Yeah, Joan's muted.
Okay, let's try it again.
Oh, Corey,
You want to go to Corey? Corey, could you try it again? Sorry.
Oh, it's on her voice
I can tell you what you said.
For later meeting.
Right.
Hi, everybody. I know you're afraid it's you, but we think it's us, but we fixed it. So thank you for your patience. My name is Corey Hayden. I do work for the Siskiyou EDC, and I'm just here on behalf of Business Services and then SRN in terms of our ability just to provide support for downtown enrichment in Yreka. Thank you.
Sorry, our ability to do something.
Siskiyou Revitalization Network.
Yeah. Can we get the sound up a little bit?
Yes, yes. There was a feedback loop when I turned it up too much, but yeah.
Still get feedback. Remember, you just need to.
I'm up. It's off, the sound is off, and.
Yeah, Jonah's muted.
We may need to look at other sound, for in here too. What about, we didn't have a problem. Could you just yell out at me? Sorry, but just try it. Sorry. Okay.
Is that better?
Is it any better down there?
Let's try.
No,
we still have feedback.
I told you.
We get feedback, so.
Corey, can you hear us?
Okay. Let's jump to Nikki.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm Nikki Brown, and I am here with the EDC and Discover Siskiyou.
Thank you. Now we'll go to Crystal.
Crystal Stiles, I'm the new executive director for the chamber.
Thank you. Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Dodds. I'm here with the Siskiyou EDC as well as Discover Siskiyou.
Thank you. Tanya.
Yes.
Hi there. Can you hear me all right?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, one thing I would like to just comment is that if someone would monitor the chat, I think that would help us a little bit because your sound quality is really rough and we're having a hard time with it. Anyway, thank you. My name is Tanya Dowse and I'm with the Siskiyou Economic Development Council, and we also operate the Discover Siskiyou program as well as the Small Business Development Center. So obviously these are topics near and dear to our heart. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Megan.
I feel like the fourth turn on the record, but I'm also here with Discover Siskiyou and the Siskiyou Economic Development Council. So.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Kathy.
Hi, everyone. I'm here with the chamber, the North Siskiyou Chamber of Commerce.
Jeannie.
Oh, yes.
Turn on your video.
Hello, everyone. Can you see me? Wait, where's my video? There we go. Here we go. Hi, everyone.
There you go.
I'm Jeannie Baker with AHA Travel, and we're down here in Siskiyou County, a local tour company. And we thought we'd just check in, see what you're all up to. I saw the article in the newspaper, so I thought I might join you and see what's going on.
Join the meeting.
Great, thanks, Jeannie.
Sure.
Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Thompson. I'm with the Yreka Chamber, or the North Siskiyou Chamber of Commerce.
Are you the president now, Chris?
I am, yep.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did. That's our mic.
That's Sean Kramer.
Oh, yeah, there we go. She way up there. Never mind. Sean, right? Sean?
Can you guys hear me at all? Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is Sean Kramer. I'm with the North Siskiyou Chamber as well.
Do you have a video you can turn on?
I believe so. Hold on. Hello.
Awesome.
And then is that Liz, our Liz? Okay.
And she won't turn it on.
We appreciate it.
Chicken.
All right, then.
And one more.
What is that? Huh?
Talia Nixon.
Oh, Nixon.
Well, I've heard from her. Talia, can you hear us?
Yeah, she's been unmuted and then remuted.
There you go. Okay, you have video? Always better if you can see who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You might need to call up on me. Kaya? Can you hear us? Okay. We need to talk to her again. Talia? Hello?
She says she doesn't have a mic or video, but she can hear us.
Okay. You're the writer All right, so let's get this going. Obviously, the purpose of this meeting is to cover special events, business services, and tourism are three main topics on this workshop. I would like to open this up with the council first, giving their ideas, and then we're gonna move into who the people in the audience and whatnot. So. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to- you don't have to say anything.
Marilyn, were we going to do focus just on special events first?
Yeah, I'd like to work on special events first. So let's get started like that. As far as that goes, we need to discuss the special events first. To see where we're heading with those events, first and foremost. One of them we don't have on listed on there is obviously the Gold Rush Days, which should have been first and foremost. At this point, I don't know if there's anybody that's would be willing to take that on at such short notice at this point in time. Has anybody got any feedback on that?
This is Councilmember Baird, and I did speak with Ken Barnes from Minor Street. He actually approached me about if the city was going to present it or not, and I told him at this time I thought it was too short a notice for us to do it. But I certainly supported him trying to move forward with it. And he has so much on his plate right now that he has declined to pursue it. And I don't blame him, it's too late in notice. And it was too unpredictable as far as the COVID response for us to plan on it in any kind of timely manner and pull it off with any level of integrity and success. So I am comfortable.
Sharon Barney
However,
joined the meeting.
However, I do hope that in the future we can get back to that because it is a historical event. But you asked for statements, and what I would like to see happen with the events is, number one, list which ones we want to continue with, and then go on from there. But I did like the suggestion that Grace Bennett made a while back regarding inviting nonprofits to present to help promote their own nonprofits, whatever is appropriate for their passion or interest. And I do think it's worth discussion in any event. No pun intended. In any case, so I would like for us to decide if we want the same events and actually list them.
Yeah, I know, I think that's a good place to actually start with all of us, council.
I would agree with Councilwoman Baird on that. Sorry, Deb. I would also agree that with our schizophrenic government at the local, not the local, at the state level and at the federal level, we hear just today, I heard 6 feet, I heard some people say 9, I heard some say 3. It's very schizophrenic, and I think we need to listen to our our health experts and our local health experts says that they hope to have a great majority of everybody vaccinated by August. I think we have to sit back, we have to watch. I will be happy if by a year, 11 months from now, in March, if we have 80% of the people in the US vaccinated or in this county, I'll be happy. Because I believe there are going to be 20% of the US that are not going to vaccinate. And we're already seeing it. We're seeing with doctors, lawyers, everyday people, law enforcement, even other health officials, they don't want to get vaccinated. So I think we go ahead with.
Kim Bridwell.
I think we see who might want to get.
Join the meeting.
But I don't see having people plan things yet until we know.
No, I didn't know.
For somebody to come out and plan something for August or September, October, and then boom, we're not doing it. What a waste of their time. What a waste of their time.
I think, like I said, right now, saying that we need to make them, basically, we need to know, and so does these organizations, nonprofits, whoever, need to know how we're moving forward as far as keeping what it is. I think that needs to be first and foremost, whether or not we're going to have them, like Gold Rush days, okay, that's not a reality, probably. I don't see that happening. So, but do we as a council want to keep that? I say yes, absolutely.
I say yes.
So, okay.
Are you talking Gold Rush days?
Gold Rush days.
Okay, so I had a request just last night in the office, and then 2 weeks ago, twice, they were asking if we're going to be having Gold Rush days. They were very disappointed when I told them I didn't think there was enough time. I didn't think that there was anyone that was going to be able to put it on at this time. So I do know that there's downtown businesses that are disappointed and would like to see them go forward.
Oh, I'm sure of that. I would love to see it go forward too. Another thing that I think I talked to Debbie about it was maybe if we can get some of the downtown merchants or something, even just do a sidewalk sale like we used to do.
Oh, yes, I got sale day. They were great.
Yes,
Jim might early here.
That is the mic that I have to share with Debbie.
Okay.
Oh.
I see them all leaning in to hear us, some of them.
They said you can't hear us.
So.
That's why.
I know this is gonna be unpopular, so I need
Well,
to.
I have my own. Then why don't I have one?
That's okay. They're struggling to hear us.
I have one.
And they said you with a mic, you can't hear us.
Well, I'm thinking, I know it's gonna be unpopular, but I think we have to remove our masks when we talk.
You know what, they may have turned mine off.
Anyways, Larry, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when we talk, and this is unpopular, but we probably have to remove our masks because if mumble, I hear blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's what I hear.
So did my kids.
Okay, yeah, so anyways, maybe we can take our mask out when we talk and move our mics because they're struggling as well.
We are
See them
16
leaving.
parts. We are 16.
And the CDC says we only need to be creepy. So
I'm
that's what I'm saying. When I say schizophrenic, I'm not picking on Donald Trump, I ain't picking on Joe Biden. I'll pick on the Republicans, the Democrats, the Independents.
Everybody.
We got a bunch of schizophrenic people in Washington,
As long
DC,
as-
Sacramento.
As long as you change it from the local, he said.
Yes.
I know I'm a little crazy, but
The dude who falls downhill and we're the lowest of the low, for the state fence.
Absolutely. So let's get back to this. So say everybody agrees that we, in the future, want to keep Gold Rush days for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next order would be, back in the day.
Holiday break.
Well, actually, it wasn't really a city ran one, it was something we just need to talk about. We actually did Sizzle in September. And that wasn't really wasn't a city sponsored one. I just bring it up just because it was something we did as a chamber. There's a car show / cruise and all that stuff. Is this one that we would want to take on or just leave it as if somebody else wanted to do something like that?
Clarify what it is again.
Sizzle in September days was a car show and then they did a cruise.
I thought that they went to the fairgrounds.
They went to the fairgrounds and then they went to the casino.
Yeah, exactly. They ended up at the casino. One was
Minor Street Park.
Yep, yeah, we originally had them on Minor Street, up and down Minor and Broadway, excuse me.
Yeah, the car shows at fairgrounds.
Yeah, that's what Father's Day, but they actually did 2 of them out there, so they ended up changing the Sizzle in September. I know when Carl was on there, he moved it out to the fairgrounds.
Which one was the one that was at Minor Street Park where they did? I'm just showing my age.
That was the one where they didn't get any permits and they just went ahead and had it.
Oh,
okay.
So is this something as a council that we want to take on?
Can I ask that we review what we have historically supported first, and then we can always add on,
Perfect.
but let's cover what we have.
That's fine. Awesome. So then, like you said, the next one would be the holiday parade at that point in time. I think that's a
That's
no-brainer.
Yep,
So like that.
Yeah.
Parade is on this.
Night of Lights.
The Night of Lights would be the next one. And I think we still want to see that move forward. Is everybody in agreement?
yes.
Okay.
We can pack our friends and they can put them on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the next step.
Yeah.
And so then the next one would be Citizen of the Year.
I say yes.
I agree. Is that general consensus of the council?
Talia Nicholson.
Yeah, I think.
Joined the meeting.
To give special recognition to at least one, the top person of the year. I know that over the years, it's gotten to be 5 or 6 different people, but it's definitely the citizen.
Definitely Citizen of the Year, and nonprofit of the year, because there's not a lot of nonprofits.
I think it'd be something to work some because attendance has been dismal and the way it's been handled the last few years. It's been absolutely dismal. So I mean,
I want to, this is like our start, so I don't like going back the same path. I like to move forward, rather than past failures, mistake, and hopefully with the new group that we're going to move forward.
but I don't want to go back, Corey, the same way it was last year.
Oh, I don't either.
Before. That's why I said, I think we need to look at making changes, and we need to look at making some pretty significant changes.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, let's see, we went from Citizen of the Year back to, what was the next one? Yeah, what was the next one?
I thought there were 5, and I can't remember the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then.
But at one point it was in September.
Oh, we did have it as an actual city event.
I think one year, well, we wanted to.
For a while.
And I could be wrong on that, was the most recent version, it was 4th of July.
4th of July.
But that
We
was.
didn't end up sponsoring that as a city. We did originally, back years ago, we sponsored it as a city, the 4th of July event. And it was last year we didn't actually sponsor that.
That's right.
Dave Peterson and all those guys at Fairgrounds, all that, put that all on. It was a good event. They did a great job. Yeah, they did a great job. So I guess that would be, so unless we're missing something, we only have 4 here.
We've got Dover Days.
Right.
Holiday Parade, Night of Lights says they have 4.
I thought we had 5.
Yeah, and I think on the other side, I have commercial cruise on the site, it's not our sponsorship so much, sidewalk sales, and then you have the 4th of July. Those are not things we sponsor, but they're events that take place and that we support.
Yeah. So I guess.
I remember as a kid, we also had
Parade.
fair during the parade, or the parade during the fair.
Parade during the fair.
Yeah.
We did have a fair.
Yeah, that's back.
Part of what happened, I can tell you, 'cause we marched it every year. The Ross Nealon American Legion Drum Bugle Corps, part of what happened with it is just through the years, it just lost interest. People, I think it was difficult to get people to march. Units, I don't mean bands, I mean like floats or like that. I think it was difficult to get that.
Yeah. So I guess moving forward now, so we've got those 4 events in there for sure. So do we as a city at this point in time want to add anything? The 4th of July, honestly, I don't know how that, I sort of feel like we should be involved in it in a sense, but not necessarily like we were originally. So I don't know what that would look like. In other words, do we just say, as a city, we will help whatever on that, or is it, how do we move forward on that? Anybody else in agreement on that? I mean, the 4th of July is kind of an important one in the past. And we, like I said, we kind of filled out, which is fine, because we had the speedway and stuff went over and did that. They did a great job. But it was originally a city event.
So I just want to mention that there are events where we sponsored them directly. And then there are events where we allow them to happen. And this is, it goes back to the discussion I had with steering versus rowing.
Right.
If there's events where you want to throw money, and particularly for events that don't do that. 4th of July, my understanding is that with a couple of exceptions, when there wasn't enough funding raised, the council has tried not to be involved in the funding of fireworks instead of going to the private sector for the last dozen years or so, and maybe more than that, I don't know. So, but that was my understanding. So it's not, and just like there's a number of other events, you know, bike rides, cross country.
Right. We
support it,
we don't necessarily sponsor it. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah. So,
Yes,
So-
Joe.
So, Mr. Mayor, a good discussion, but I would really like to hear from some of the nonprofits around here, people who may be interested in adopting, if you will, some of these projects, or suggestions maybe for some new ones, maybe some new blood. I don't know exactly how it would work, but I would like to hear from, you know, from the nonprofits to see what it is that they're interested in doing, and then, you know, then we can figure out how we can.
And that's fine. So we know for sure 4 events here. Up in the air is like we said, possibly the 4th of July. Up in the air is possibly the Sizzle in September. And then possibly maybe somebody can bring to the table a new event. Is this correct? Is this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And all we're trying to do, I think, before we go to the experts, these are the experts that we're trying, we're just trying to make sure we cover what we like, unless if there's, we don't leave anything out. And I know that since I've heard that we can be together on 4th of July with my family, and since I've been told that by Washington, we're going to be doing it this year.
Right.
In the backyard, we're actually because I was told at a press conference a couple weeks ago.
Yes, Steve.
So Mayor, I know that I've been informed by Yreka that there are 2 public comments, and probably more, but Corey and Crystal.
Okay.
I don't see their hands raised now, but
So let's, either one, let's, Crystal, let's have Crystal speak about this. Crystal, can you hear us?
Can you, yep, can you hear me?
Oh, good. Yes.
So, yes, thank you for this discussion that we're having, appreciate it. I will tell you that I've had a lot of discussions regarding Gold Rush Days, and Deborah, you stated exactly for this specific year why it didn't seem feasible. First and foremost would be the COVID factor. But moving forward, we've had a lot of discussion about it being a minor street action team, that we as the chamber would be willing to oversee that action team, but it would be their responsibility since it's their businesses, then it's on their street. And we are hoping to work very closely with them from a historical perspective anyway, that they have a specific action team. That's part of our farmers market. We can talk about that also. But anyway, that's the conversation that we have had around that. We have already signed a contract for the 4th of July. We are planning to have it at the casino, and the fireworks contract is complete. And we are planning on having a community-wide pancake breakfast that morning, and then a full day of events from noon to evening with bands and vendors, et cetera, at the casino with some VIP opportunities. So we have funding for that, mostly private dollars that we have already been raising. And so that is well on the way of being planned at this point.
What day is that?
4th of July.
4th of July.
The Citizen of the Year, we definitely are interested in keeping that. We would like to revamp it so that it's a little bit more exciting and includes more people and maybe has a different feel and venue to it. So we don't have an answer on what that looks like exactly yet, but that's the conversation that we're having with a lot of our partners, and board is just raising the vibe of that specifically. We are also willing to continue on the holiday parade and the evening lighting thing. So those are like the events that the chamber is willing to commit to and continue to move forward in a way that brings people to town. Open to feedback.
She did mention, yes, she did. She said you sell like a merchant.
So that's 4th of July, holiday parade, Citizens of the Year, and
Night of Lights, I think she said too.
Yeah,
Night of Light, and you said, what was the other one you said? Gold Rush Days.
No, they don't take over. She said the downtown merchants would have to do their own.
Yeah, Minor Street.
Executive director of the chamber.
She's chamber.
We definitely feel like there needs to be a transition of that. If somebody is going to take it over, we have years of history and documentation. So for somebody to pick that up, we would certainly want to be part of the success of that moving forward. But, you know, having it move to the Minor Street vendors or Minor Street business owners as an action team and other volunteers in the community to make that happen moving forward, we feel like would be a good fit for what the venue actually is also. And then partnering with Discover Siskiyou to help promote it and throughout the area. So those are the conversations that we've had.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. Like, I guess Corey was the next one to weigh in on this.
Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to introduce the concept of starting to think about ways to bring people to Yreka. I call it 313 days a year. I took out all the Mondays to give us a break. But just this concept of what experiences we have that we can leverage and how to do that so that people come to Yreka anytime and have a great experience. Events are lovely and take a ton of work to start. And when they are done, that momentum holds until the next one. And so just from the perspective of SRN and some of the things we talk about a lot, I just want to put at the forefront of council's mind some ways to achieve this, because I think it can help build experiences in Yreka that we're looking for ourselves and for our visitors. So just the concept of helping our businesses have roll-up doors or outdoor dining, this creates an event type atmosphere all year long or for 3 seasons. Revisiting a downtown farmers market. This is something we've recently talked with Crystal about, and we've seen communities be very successful with in the time of COVID because they were allowed and they're throughout the summer, and they really spark some great energy in downtowns. So I know these are not traditional events, but it's just a way of thinking that I want to help council encourage you to think about our city and our experiences. And I have more ideas. We have more ideas as a team, and Crystal has a lot of energy. We've been able to sit down and talk recently. I just want to talk about that 313-day experience and how we can really achieve that potentially together. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
I love the idea of the downtown farmers market because it brings people into town.
Yeah, it brings it into.
I brought this up when I came back from Sacramento. I've been back 4 years now. Ran for city council, lost, came back to city council, and I've been told that the merchants were not fans of the farmers market downtown closing streets because it blocked off their patrons and their restaurants there, the patrons they get on one night. But the ones downtown, my gosh, it just brought so many people. And, I just can't see why the city, after 10 years of being gone, or how many years of being gone, it's been all these 4 years, 7 back, cannot open the idea of having the farmers market back downtown.
Yeah, but some of the merchants liked it.
Yeah, we did.
Basically only 2 or 3 did.
So they left because of 2 businesses?
Yep.
Wow.
Very vocal.
So,
I think Steve can enlighten a little bit on that.
I just think we should give them an idea instead of that, 15 years ago. Oh, that didn't work. My gosh, we're gonna do.
Amy,
revisit
join the meeting.
these back. It's kind of ridiculous to me, but.
No, I agree. Now, Steve, you had something you wanted to.
Well, I was just gonna say, and the history is not probably as important as moving forward, but what happened, there were a few merchants that, actually, the merchant signed off originally on the farmer's market that closed down Minor Street, and it was at the upper end of Minor Street, rather than going all the way down. But what happened is that some of the patrons of the restaurants were being asked to move their cars, and they were the early crowd. And then also that some of the businesses thought that their sales went down on that day compared to the others, so they wanted to move somewhere. And essentially, there were a few businesses where it really impacted, but because the downtown merchants kind of stick together, and I think that there's a good reason for that. There were a lot of other merchants that even though they said it doesn't directly affect me, but I want to support my merchants. So it was more than just that. And if we really get into farmers markets, there's certain places where they work and the street width work, and because I'm the one that asked them to shut it down because I was at the point that they closed it early as a result. But I think at that time the merchants thought they would open somewhere else, but it's very specific what farmers market. In order to have a farmers market, you have to have people selling vegetables and stuff like that. So there's very certain things that they look for, like park their trucks, and there's a whole lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, they can close off for the US Navy, there's a parking lot right there. You can close off Minor Street coming down Fourth. Farmers market are 5 Minor Street, it doesn't have to be Minor Street, you have Side Street. They close at 5 o'clock. Yeah, around Broadway. Yeah, Minor Street.
But you need to work with the farmers market, saying that that will work, doesn't necessarily mean that it works for the farmers themselves.
Well, yeah, but it's not happening for that fast. Say, oh, we didn't work years ago, so we're not gonna.
Well, that's something that probably will be brought back up too, because it's changed. Some of the dynamics of Minor Street has changed too. We got different merchants there now. We have quite a few different owners and the business owners on Minor Street now too. We have some new ones on Broadway too that might want to weigh in on that too, but that was kind of what I was leading to there. But anyways, I think it's definitely something that they should readdress. But I think that comes back to us, is this gonna be something that we would want as a city, to say that we're part of this sponsorship, or is it something, that we have one of the special interest groups run with it, and we say, hey, we want them to do this,
I agree Sacramento does it every 14 years. So the one downtown was sponsored by the Downtown Sacramento Partnership. So it's like all business downtown with Sacramento, they put into their fund, just like the chamber, but their own organization, they sponsor the Downtown Sacramento Partnership and the Downtown Farmers Market on Wednesdays. It was in the daytime, but busy because everybody from the offices all walked over. Yeah, food trucks, vegetables, we made us, buy it and that in the mall, the Capitol Mall there. And so they sponsored it.
So it wasn't a city sponsored event, it was
like the chamber in the downtown, like merchants, like Minor Street formed the downtown merchants, and they
So
they
we had the same
they raise the money.
well, that's something I think, like I said, I think we're all,
I think the city
I think we're all in
sponsored.
support
It's
of
in the
it.
city of Sacramento and downtown, for the city of Sacramento, they put in a little bit of time.
Oh, they did, okay. I guess that's the difference, funding versus no funding, we can give all the support we
Very
want,
minimal.
but, as far as funding, that changes everything, so.
Anyway, it's a good idea.
Yes, Dave.
I'm for that.
And if I could throw one more option for consideration into the mix, because the city owns 2 nice sized parking lots in the downtown area. Our contribution could be one of those parking lots for the farmers event if someone approaches us. The city is not going to put on a farmers market.
No.
So we have to wait or solicit or invite someone to do it, in which case if it's held on in one of the parking lots owned by the city, then that would be a contribution, so it would be in the form of
There's some very specific things that they have to follow. Someone has to be responsible for it. So you need an organization that takes responsibility, signs on the dotted line, has liability insurance. So that wouldn't be the city.
Right.
Their contribution.
Right, yeah, would we have to offer the parking lot for that, or could we just give them free parking for the day?
It's just enough. Yeah, I'm not sure. 3 parking for the day.
No, I have it. Can I ask a question to somebody on?
Corey was shaking.
Corey, where are you? Corey Hayden, okay, you moved, you were in the.
Actually, Corey's in the next year.
I'm sorry. So Corey or somebody on there who is involved in the farmers market in Yreka, how does that work? Who's the organizer of that?
Sure. I want to tell you guys about the weed farmers market that has just come on for this summer. That was an effort where infrastructure wise, it got a lot of support from the city. And then a lead volunteer helped organize it. And because the entity is so new, it was the Weed Chamber that fiscally sponsored it. So that is an example of the structure of that farmers market. I know Crystal has put a lot of thought into this concept, and I don't want to put her under the gun if she doesn't want to share, but if she does want to share a vision, I want to invite her to do so, and she is nodding.
Yes. So we have had a lot of discussion around this. One of my very good friends is actually the executive director of the Rogue Valley Growers Market. So I've had a lot of conversation with her as well. There is a lot of interest in having a Friday afternoon, 3 to 7 venue of some kind that is a combination of entertainment / vendors, you know, a thing to do with families and on a Friday afternoon, evening type of thing. So there is a lot of interest in the community for that. We have been talking about Broadway only because there unfortunately are not as many businesses impact as Minor Street. But we would be open to a location, but we really feel like the vibe of that and the energy that comes with that, specifically some of the tips and tricks that I've learned about how the Rogue Valley Growers Market, because they run the Ashland Market, the 2 Medford markets, and several other little things throughout the year. So I just feel like if it's well organized and we have good vendors and we have a switch up on entertainment type things and things for families to do with their children, I really feel like it could be a very, very successful event for our community of our people who live here, as well as people who are visiting. And we are willing to do that. We want to do that as a chamber. That's a major discussion item that we have had and something that we would like to do very, very soon, if possible.
Thank you. Right.
So there are other more comments up there.
Tanya's hand is up.
Yes, Tanya?
She's muted. Yeah, there you go.
Hi there. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm trying really hard to follow this, and this it's a really unfortunate interface with the sound. I would like to just offer that I think something that the council might want to consider is a strategic planning session around the topics that are on your agenda this evening, and maybe that your interest might be more about an event strategy, and I think that's fine and a great thing to work on, but just having an understanding of what it is that you're trying to accomplish with that strategy so that we as your team here in Yreka can help you facilitate and implement. One of the things that we're, as Corey mentioned previously, is this idea of, we have a moment in time where we had a year that gave us the opportunity to actually do a reset. And as we come out of this pandemic, I think the one thing that we really learned as a community willingness. I'm sorry.
It froze up there.
Can they hear me? Yeah. The willingness.
Now we hear you.
I can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Now we can.
Were you able to hear me for the last 5 minutes, or should I say?
Yes.
Most of it.
There was a few seconds gap, but that was it.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh gosh, now I'm off. Like I lost my rhythm. I really think the idea of having a strategic planning session around what you're trying to accomplish would be really helpful, so that we as your team here in Yreka can help you implement it. I also wanted to share with you the work we did through Discover Siskiyou and the investment we made in local events and how that played out. And I think it was a relatively successful strategy in that we had, our vision was to grow events that were tourism facing. And by using those events to create an increase in revenue for our lodging properties. And so we really honed in on that vision of increasing the number of heads and beds and supporting that sector of our business economy. And so our local incentives, we put out a call for submissions. People submitted their event ideas. Our board of lodging properties evaluated them and made a decision based on their vision for growth in retail or in revenue and sales, and selected those events that they felt were important to invest in. And so that's kind of an example of getting to a place where you have a strategy and how to implement it. I also think that one thing that as we emerge from this pandemic is that we have this real opportunity where our consumers have like gone light years ahead in digital marketplace and light years ahead in understanding how to embrace new marketplaces and the physical infrastructure that our community presents to both our residents and to our consumers is key to creating an environment that is conducive to really a livable community, a workable community, and a community that attracts visitors to our space so that, as Corey mentioned, investing in outside spaces that increase our marketplace, creating food truck areas, creating parklets, you name it. There's a ton of examples that have emerged and been embraced in this past year. And so what an exciting time for us to rethink our community strategy. I think that was all I wanted to say, but thank you again for the opportunity. I'm sorry that I'm having a hard time following this conversation. So I hope that was the appropriate time to comment on that.
Perfect. Great. What's that?
No, other doesn't have a hand.
Thank you, Rachel.
Did other, did you want to talk? No. Okay.
Heather Dobbs, did you have your hand up?
No.
No?
No.
You said no.
No.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Anybody else have any comments or thing you want to talk about? And then we'll go back, go back to the council here, see how we want to move forward on that.
Well, I mean, I like some things I heard. I like a lot of things I heard, but I mean, things I keyed in on when you're talking, might be Crystal, I'm not sure, or Corey, or both. They're talking about the farmers market. I like the idea behind entertainers, food trucks, and other such vendors. Now, when the farmers market was down here at Ron Rouse building, the old Wilson Auto, they also had occasionally having a food truck, not too often. Because I think a lot of times the food trucks during the middle of the day were at what we had at the time was minimal. They were at their own locations, but they did have people that were selling other wares, which is good. So I mean, wherever we go, I'm not advocating for a particular spot. Wherever that goes, I think that all of these things, I think the food vendors, the regular, just the selling of hardware, the entertainer, food trucks or food carts. Lord knows we've got a good number of them in the city of Yreka. I mean, I see Ricky Bowers is back out and he's selling his hot dogs. So I mean, and Yoga, we have a lot of good people out there. So I mean, I like a lot of these things that came along. I mean, particularly the ones that came along with the sidewalk farmers market, but it sounds like there's a lot of good ideas.
So, as far as, farmers markets, I know, we also have discussion or talk about, the concert for parks and stuff too. I don't know where that is in this part of this since the COVID thing, where this is going to and where it's coming from and everything else. I don't know if you have heard anything on that.
I believe that they have not move forward on the contract in the park for this year because of COVID. But last that I heard, they were still interested in.
I think it was in their contract. I was told it was in their contract, it's not like, anyway, it's sold, they had to continue that. So, but not this year.
Yeah.
But
No, I thought
that was put in sale.
I thought the governor said that California was pretty much gonna be open by June.
That's what he said.
After events.
But I will tell you that when Valgera did it, because when I was Sears, yeah, well, yeah, she could have gone now for about 2 minutes.
Whatever, I mean, she put it on, made it put it on her
Yeah.
sale, it was honored to keep that on.
Yes, but the dilemma last year was, and that's another reason why they didn't ask for sponsorships. And I don't think they typically start asking for sponsorships in September.
Oh, yeah.
And they have the bands locked up by January, and they ask you which one you want to sponsor, they're always asking which one. And so I would imagine that they're not doing all
No,
that.
I'm not sure of that. But I guess the reason why I'm talking about that is because, we're talking about the farmer's market with entertainment. The only way the entertainment's, gonna work on a farmer's market is if it's on a Saturday or something like that.
But you got, I mean,
Really, a waste.
we have people, we have very talented, Rusty Miller, we have talented classical
Oh, yeah.
musicians. We have people that, might want to come out and share their,
So just as an aside, having entertainment at a farmer's market does not necessarily mean that you have to have it like it's a full concert. And in fact, sometimes if you do that, the concert overwhelms the farmer's market, and I have that situation in my past where the concert series was great, but because so many people came to the concert series to stay, the farmer's market died.
I'm not advocating even for that, Steve, just
Yeah.
I'm advocating for a guy like Rusty that sits there and plays, and you don't put any chairs, if you want to sit, they grab their food cord, just sit and listen. But we've got some very talented North and South County musicians that would like to show off.
Well, we do, and actually, we had a pretty darn successful downtown farmer's market with entertainment. And the entertainment was low key, as you said, it's like a little three-piece band at one end or the other of Minor Street. I know Jill Harris is not here, but Tanya, where's Tanya, she's still on there, nope, she's gone. Anyway, they helped put that together. Now, there was some people downriver that actually did the application through the state and had the insurance and all that stuff. And the EDC just helped to guide it, but it was really successful and it brought a lot of people from downtown. Raise hands up.
Tanya's back.
Tanya's back. Yeah, Tanya, I was just talking about the farmer's market downtown that the EDC was instrumental in helping to put together. And I was trying to remember the gentleman from downriver that did that, and then they lost interest. They got upset when a few of the merchants, didn't like it. But it would take somebody to be responsible for it, I think, to organize it. But where's Crystal? Crystal, are you still there? Yes, Crystal was the one that started.
Yes.
What goes on at Road Valley. That's very similar, but on a much larger scale. I don't.
Yes.
We could, at this point in time, have the capacity for that, but maybe something smaller, like we had at one time on Minor Street, but maybe in another location that's close to downtown, but maybe not exactly on Minor Street.
And I'm not advocating for a location, just advocating for the idea.
Right.
Because I think what they've come up with, those are some,
Oh, yeah.
I would follow those. That's like, they were good ideas. What they came up with, I love.
Sure. Needs to be brought back to the community.
Right,
And it's,
from the community, I like that.
because it's.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, some of that entertainment is things like basket making or a cooking class or bouquet making.
Right,
It's
right.
activities and
See, that's also where you get, the tribal people.
I know.
I mean, that was wonderful.
Yeah, try to give them,
Conceptually, that was so good for our kids.
It says our internet connection is unstable.
Yeah, okay, Crystal, you should be back on right now. You're off for about the past 7 or 8 seconds.
I'm sorry?
You were out for a while.
We lost you after flower making.
Oh, I was just saying that what I'm also talking about is things like basket making, a cooking class, bouquet making, things that bring people together and give them something to do besides just spending their money. That's part of the entertainment. And when I say entertainment, I'm thinking, you know, a little guitar player. I'm not definitely thinking concert series. I'm thinking, you know, part of the vibe of a low key but entertaining face painting, all kinds of things for kids, families, and have it vary from week to week. That's how you're going to get people to come back. Every week is, they have a very advanced schedule that they keep that is kind of, and she filled in with me some of their secret things that gets more people out when they offer these classes or these things or these opportunities for families, then they increase their attendance by X percentage. So I have all that information. I'm happy to share at whatever point.
Peter Bradford, you got part of where Peter Bradford used to do, here in Yreka, used to do a half-hour show once a week on cooking test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that, and he
We
would
have
come,
the bakery in town too. Remember that?
and he would come in, teach classes, he'd do whatever, I mean, he was teaching the kids to make mayonnaise.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. I mean, for kids, for adults, it's gonna be more, but for kids, I mean, that's a great idea that she has. I mean, when you think about all these little things, you know, that is an entertainment that, I mean, whether it's flowers or baskets, music, whatever. They're great ideas.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Like, so we got, back in the day, in older days, we got the crew tribe involved in it. They did some, you know, some of their dance and stuff, but
Yes.
stuff, and so it was really good. In fact, they did that too for the museum, when they did the museum down there, the crew was involved in that, so I
Like
can
there's
see
somebody
that.
teaching to play spoons, there's all kinds of stuff that goes back, you know, to.
And Wayne put together an arm wrestling.
Oh, yeah, that was old West days, yeah.
So Corey has her hand up,
Yes.
before she talks, I want to go back to what she said earlier, is I just read somewhere, and someone can tell me where the article was or where it came from. The Siskiyou County made it #1 in this, right?
Yep, they just
As
have
the
a TV
#1 hiking and recreational place, so we really need to.
Was it for the state or for the region? Like, I thought it
Region,
was-
state, I don't
I
know.
thought
So
it was
I said,
Northern
someone
California
correct me,
or
I just read it really quick,
Or was it
but
all?
I saw it was, I thought it was a state. North State.
No, because
Oregon, that was Oregon, that was.
They advertised it, Oregon.
But that's something we can, that's something that we can really write on and promote the area. Because we have beautiful, beautiful falls and mountains and recreation. And I just feel that we have lost out on it the last few years. I've never seen it packed here with, especially South Valley. I've never seen
place
it.
to hike in the state.
Yep, state. So I was, you know, we're seeing this place packed, the hotels, campers coming in. I guess it's been COVID, so yeah, it's the brain fog, which was actually happening here. But yeah, we do need to focus on bringing that back because it does benefit, you know, not only us, but you know, the whole Siskiyou County. That we have the most lodging. People choose hotels in the county, so.
Well, I'll take it a step further down in this meeting, but if you want to talk, I'll take, because I don't have an idea that Siskiyou County, especially where it's a destination stop with bed breakfast, things like that, and I would be glad to share it, because I pushed for it for, you know, I mean, it's personally, not so Steve, or I pushed for a long time.
Nancy and I, and Steve and Greta had a meeting this morning about TFG and breakfast and VRBO and the way, and the fact that being the #1 hiking place in the whole state is going to be attracting people to our area, and we need to be ready for it.
We also have the #1 whitewater school in the world.
Yeah.
It's just here, it's just,
That's
And
Those are Corey's.
Yeah, I think
She's
so.
patiently waiting.
Yes, yeah.
and Megan Peterson is also out.
Oh, good. So go Corey first.
Rory and then Megan?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, you guys. I just wanted to suggest perhaps some of the entities that are here could have an opportunity to just put down in writing a concept, like not just one event, but just a general vision for what how do I say it? A vision might be for these types of events that you guys are talking about. I know Crystal's got a vision. Sometimes SRN has a vision. We would just provide, you know, one sheeter just for your inspiration. It's not an ask by any means. It's just a piece of insight. And that might be a really unique way to get feedback from a community in a comprehensive way. And so I just wanted to offer that and mention that as a way to put forth some ideas for consideration, but not in any way an ask for anything, just inspiration.
Thank you. Megan, now Megan?
Yeah, I was just actually going to just make a couple clarifications for you on some of that with the hiking. It was the hiking trail map, and they rated the 52 counties, and so Siskiyou came out on top for overall hiking. And then we no longer have that whitewater school. That whitewater school is now you can go kind of as a group to go there. But that being said, I do think the idea of using the amount of recreation that is surrounding Yreka is a very interesting concept. And I know it's one that we have talked about pretty extensively and put forth, I think, in even a pitch and proposal for Yreka, because it really is a great base camp for that. So, but I do think, to Tanya's point about having a strategy meeting, some kind of idea of really getting the community to self-identify of what it is that they want to be marketed as, I think is something, when we're talking about tourism, that's a really important step.
Thank you. So I guess we're at the point now, we need to move forward here. So we're gonna
The next forward.
Well, we need to figure out on this part of this section, which is the special events. What do we want to move forward on? We want to start setting up, like there's some suggestions, basically a strategic plan on that, or do we just want to say, no, these are the events we want to go with, and then for now, and then we develop a strategic plan for the future. And that's something that we need to talk about. I mean, do we say yes on these 4 events? We know we want these. Okay. Do we say, we want to just move forward to these 4 events and then establish a strategic plan for the future, or what do like you guys?
I think it's always good for me.
Go ahead, Joe.
I think it's a good idea always to try to think ahead. In other words, let's be proactive and not reactive, and let's have some kind of strategic planning session. What worked? I think honestly, to stay ahead of the game, if you will, for competing areas, that we need to look at what's next.
Yeah.
In other words, not always thinking in the past, thinking forward. So I would be for having some type of a strategy planning. Strategic planning.
I guess my only concern, I totally agree, I think it's very valuable that we have a strategic plan for the future and how to move forward and look at new events and how we move forward on new type of events.
For this year, yeah. For this year, you want it?
Yeah, I guess I'm looking at some standards for now, because I know how this goes with this, when we start talking about strategic plan and how things get drawn out in how long it takes when we start saying those things. So I guess my thing is, that's why I guess I brought it up, saying, do we say these 4 events are a must as a city that we want, and maybe something else, but just these 4 events, and then we start doing a strategic plan for maybe next year's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to delay. We need to look at, like I said, roller days, don't look at that going to happen. But maybe farmers market, maybe somebody's going to step up and play. That's not really a city event, but our next city event would be the holiday parade. So we need to establish the holiday parade is something we definitely want to see as a city, no matter what.
And the night of lights.
And the night of lights, obviously, yeah.
And the parade has to be after Saturday after Thanksgiving, because the citizens were in an uproar, so that cannot change. I do not want to see it change, because there was just the citizens and the virgins were in an uproar when that was changed to the Saturday, was the Saturday Thanksgiving, so. I, for one, in my opinion, it has to be the Saturday after Thanksgiving, the parade.
Yeah, keep it the long-standing tradition.
Yeah, long-standing tradition.
So I agree on that. So I guess back to this is, as soon as Paul gets back, we can kind of move forward on that. That's the direction we want to go. Yes, Dave.
Also, I'd like to remind everybody as government's goal is not to be the entertainment here. And it's not discouraging any other group or nonprofits of any kind from presenting an idea for how to contribute to make our town better. But as far as the city being the lead on these events, I think it should be limited. I think we should be supportive financially when we can and if we can. But I don't want to blur that line that we're going to be running these events because.
Sure.
Good point. Oh, absolutely. That's the last thing we need to be doing. Is putting on, we put on enough of those events. I put on enough of those events. I don't want to necessarily be in charge of that for sure.
No, I mean, right, so we need to actually figure out how to go forward.
Yes.
To accept proposals.
Correct.
Right, for events.
So this, at this point, what we talked about when you stepped out, Paul, was running a basis on these 4 events, saying, these are the 4 events we want to see as a city, for sure. Strategic plan wise, because we know how some of these strategic plans can get drawn out for a long period of time, that we as a city would say, we're open to next year to doing a strategic plan, which we can start now with the strategic planning, but for now, we need to dial in and say, Gold Rush Days, which is not gonna happen this year, but holiday parade, night of lights, citizen of the year.
People's
moving
comments
forward,
are not
those
being
things that we want that, this would be part of some of these organizations, whoever that may be.
Do you guys want me to just
No,
introduce,
that's.
or do you want to?
I'll ask.
If we want to move forward with that, so that would be part of their plan, to come forward to us, or, okay, please, this is what you guys want, so this will be part of our plan to move forward with those.
I'm in full agreement.
Okay. So, yes,
I'm hearing that there are comments that I can't see unfortunately because my computer isn't up. But Arthur has comments from the people that are out there. Can we ask him to read them, please?
Oh, yes.
Can we scroll down on those?
Can you show them
Yeah, let me,
under chat?
okay. You want to scroll down or scroll up?
Well, go to the start.
Okay.
Wow, lots of comments.
All right.
Somebody's got to read it out loud. I can't see.
All right.
Okay.
so You want me to do it?
yeah, the sounds pretty, the sounds pretty.
All right, from Tanya, hi, just wanted to let you know that the sound is pretty rough. From Jean Baker, Jeannie Baker, there's a lot of echo in your chamber. From Corey Hayden, come back to me. Thanks, Corey. Thank you, everyone. I think that was more my fault than your fault. T. Nicholson, I don't have a micro video. Yes, I can hear you. From me to everyone. Oh, that's from Arthur.
Mhm.
We know what we have some issues. Heather Dodd, someone's typing, that's all I can hear. Okay, let me see. Okay, these are more comments about the.
More relevancy.
Just keep going down, Arthur, until.
Will they address each stuff separately?
Yeah. Okay, from Corey Hayden, oh, it says, someone volunteered Corey to lead a facilitated planning session.
That was done.
Tanya volunteered. Corey says, I noticed Mount Shasta is hosting their outdoor concert series this year.
Oh, right on.
Down below that, Heather Dodd says, the cloud is also moving forward with Mushroom Festival in May. Corey says, are we, Corey disappeared.
What if?
Some local entities proposed an event series for council just to see the inspiration.
That's fine.
That's fine, that's all right.
Tanya?
Are we moving to the topic tourism now, or are we still on
We're
events?
still on events.
We need to move on though, yes.
And then Yreka has a great opportunity to be a base.
I agree, who said that?
Tanya.
I agree.
John agrees.
Hikers, camping, kayaking, rafting on the road. Yeah.
All right, and John says, I agree, we're the hub for so many things, why not be the hub for positivity and growth in our
Yes.
country and community, our county?
Yes.
I have always had a fantasy that Yreka, not Windy City, but business wise, we're able to advertise in like, in magazines such as Sunset, things like that, go, come here, Friday night, spend it in a bed and breakfast, have a great steak dinner. The next morning, you're on the Klamath River and you're rafting, you stay on the river Saturday night, You, Sunday, you're picked up at your drop off to your bed and breakfast and spend the night here. Something like that. So that's just a pipe dream.
Yeah, so you just moved into tourism.
Ooh,
I'm not
yes,
sure
you
what's
did,
going
but
on.
I just wanted to tell you, and Cory is, I'm sure, biting her tongue until it's bloody. But the SRN she's been talking about is the Siskiyou Revitalization Network. One of the things that our network has done, and I've invited all of you to come to those meetings anytime you want to, was we actually got together with like a planning type thing. And we put together a series of events in your town. What would you do for breakfast event, lunch event or activity, dinner activity, and we've got them for all of Yreka and all over the county. And we've got that, right, Cory? We still got that in writing somewhere. So the planning efforts are going on, we just have to bring them to life.
So let's move forward, let's.
That's tourism probably.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
thank
how I'm saying, this, we're kind of moving into tourism, so let's say at this, where do we want it as a council, where do we want to move forward? We just discussed the 4 events, and then now that these entities know that those 4 events are a must, if they want to bring forward some other proposals for stuff, and.
There was something that Cory said or Tanya said on there, about, bringing back, hang on.
OCDPA.
California Department of Public Health.
Okay, release guidelines for fair outdoor events now. Is that correct?
That's my.
Yes. Yeah.
That sounds like.
Other activities, or just today, we were working on livestock shows, that's left.
Yep.
Guidelines with the current
Understood.
protocols is the fairgrounds hosting a Mother's Day market.
Yep.
The chainsaw carving, of course, and a jackpot show for junior exhibitors. Good.
Good.
But there was something Cory said that's further up. Also that I thought it was Cory.
I would say we should make sure to differentiate between events. and-
That's now something else. Can you keep going, Arthur?
No, but we've already done that.
Keep going.
Move back.
I hate this stuff. Okay, yeah, keep going.
Further up?
Yeah.
We've already done that.
What if someone, local entities,
Oh,
propose an event series for council? Who, see, Cory did say that. I think, along with what we're talking about, I think that's a good idea.
What was it I did?
Cory said, what if a local entity proposed
Yeah.
a series of events that they wanted to
Yes,
facilitate? I think that's
I think that's what we're trying to
Because,
listen to
yeah,
right
we're
now,
not
so.
locked into, I mean,
No.
somebody may go, hey, 4th of July or whatever it is, this is, we don't wanna do Gold Rush days, we wanna do, 50s hot rods. I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
Right, I guess we're just stating as a city, these 4 events we want to see, so yes.
Those are 4 events we would like to see,
Yes,
I
yes.
would love to see what Cory's talking
Oh,
about.
absolutely, no, I want, that would be the next step.
For any entity.
So if I'm taking direction, first thing I heard is that we want to solicit proposals from entities to put on the 4 events.
Correct.
We may also want to solicit from other entities and say, hey, new day, COVID's gonna be
Let's open it
over.
up.
Is there anything that you would like to do in terms of events?
Yes, I agree.
So I disagree with part of it. And that's what I wanted to specify.
Okay.
So I don't think that we should say that one entity has to do all that.
No, you're right.
We could break it up,
Correct,
right?
correct.
I don't think we're saying that, are we?
No, we're just saying we want to see these events. One entity does not have to put all 4 events on. It can be spread out to anybody, one for each, or whoever wants to do the proposal, that's great. And if there's, some of these entities want to bring back new events, then we'd love to see that too. So yes.
Yeah.
Basically, Steve's on the right track and Joan's on the right track. We want to see these events. Doesn't have to be by one entity, but we would like to hear from some different entities on how to move forward on that.
Okay.
Yes, Debbie.
Steve, if I could add one more thought, in
Yeah.
which case, if we put a deadline like the end of May for all the ideas and then schedule a strategic plan to put them together and prioritize, evaluate, whatever, but I don't want to just go and everybody bring their ideas at that
Right.
time. It would be nice for us to be able to review before we set up any kind of strategic planning?
So I'm hearing two things in there, maybe, or at least I'm hearing it, maybe it's only one. So what you're saying is, let's put a deadline on getting back to us, so that we can talk about these.
Right.
And then I'm also hearing strategic planning,
For the
I
future.
think after.
For the future. Yes.
For the future, yeah.
All right.
So even 4th of July, whatever, but 30 days later, what, have a strategic plan set up to review, eliminate, discuss. You know.
Right, the strategic planning, I mean, Tanya's a good point, doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
We can narrow it down to what it is we want to look at and then do a simplified version, if you will, that's still hearing everyone's
Yes.
proposal.
Yes, but in truth, once everybody has once all the entities have their ideas sent into the city, they get compiled, those who entered ideas get a list of everybody who threw ideas into the table, so that we can all review before we meet, so it'll streamline.
Yeah.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Did you get all that, Steve?
I think so. There's a wee bit of details on implementation, but at this point, we should move
The
forward.
general idea.
I got the general idea.
We're gonna start losing people.
I think it's.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so since we've started before going into it, let's go into tourism. And what do we want to, as a council, do we want to just listen to some of the ideas of tourism, or do we want to have an idea of what we think tourism should be? I think we need to listen.
Because we're not.
No, we're not good on tourism.
Right, right. No, well, I wouldn't say that, we're not perfect.
We're not geared for that sort of, as much, so.
I am, I'm gonna call you. Hello.
Yeah, this is true, we are. So, do we want to open it up to then, to the audience? Is there anybody that wants to start doing some type of presentation or whatnot on tourism?
So raise your hands if you want to have that tourism.
There we go. All right. So you want to open it up for Nikki then?
All right, Nikki.
All right, Nikki. Oh, maybe. Yep, now
There you go.
now you're on. Go ahead, Nikki.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yep.
yes, ma'am.
Well, it's so fun. I've just been bouncing some ideas around in my head, and it's kind of a nice transition just talking from events and kind of segueing into that tourism space, because, you know, one thing working with Discover Siskiyou on the event side, there's definitely a difference between community events and then events that actually attract tourism. And with Discover Siskiyou, as you all know, we're working really closely with our lodging partners to drive visitation to the whole county to increase overnight visitation. And our team is so excited about Yreka right now. And it's such fun timing to have this conversation, especially because honestly, I mean, this last year, there was so much uncertainty, but we've seen such an opportunity for Siskiyou as a whole, but Yreka specifically, to attract an entire new type of visitor and really leverage this spike in demand for road trip travel and rural destinations. Something exciting that I just wanted to share too is that we're actually working right now on a strategic sector strategy in the tourism space as a region, which includes Southern Oregon. And even though I think we tend to think of like Ashland as being more advanced than us in the tourism space, they are retooling right now as well because of the loss of visitation from the Shakespeare Festival. And they are so excited about the opportunity to partner with Siskiyou County and specifically Yreka. And so just thinking about just the bigger picture, I think, you know, that idea of looking at Yreka as kind of this hub to everything that's within an hour radius. I really think we have some opportunity to leverage that entire space and to kind of own it in Yreka. And so I think both from events and from tourism marketing to really be thinking about those partnerships, and kind of obviously we'll be working with you guys on that, and happy to talk offline as well. But I mean, we met, I don't even know if I could say this, but we met with one of the tourism, a big tourism ownership group up there, and they have, you know, a private email list that's over, gosh, like close to 200,000 people. And they are so excited to partner with Yreka on collaborative itineraries, marketing, you know, really looking at that big picture. So that is exciting. And then we've also just talked a lot about, you know, right now, Tanya had kind of mentioned this idea that, you know, COVID really served as a catalyst to get people online in so many different spaces quickly. And so looking at revisiting and looking more at kind of creating a brand identity that could be unique to Yreka, leveraging what we're already working on and getting into that digital marketing space is something that I would just encourage council to consider thinking about if you're thinking about tourism marketing.
Great, thank you. Real good. Here working with Southern Oregon, especially, that was one of the things when we were in chamber I was working on. I went up to the different chambers up in Medford and Ashland both, and actually had meetings with them, trying to pull everybody in together and trying to work together. So I was a really good concept to keep moving forward, because we do need to have a partnership with them since they're our neighbors. Right. And it's really important, I think. Okay, and who else wants to talk on this tourism subject?
Boy, pretty quiet.
It is quiet.
Nobody wants to be tourism.
Okay, I'll present the option that was presented to me through Grace regarding a walk-in tourist location, tourist information location. She's the county museum is interested in participating that with staffing and a location, which I think is a great partnership, but just thought I'd put that in the mix.
So, yeah, so, you know, I guess that's the other thing we need to, as council, possibly break this down in a physical location.
Brochure and
Exactly, so we need to, as tourism, we need to, you know, before, obviously, we had the chamber doing the physical and a lot of the other aspects of the tourism. Now we need to, like I said, address this as a different way of looking at it, going, do we separate this up going, or this is what we need to, you know, move forward as a council? Do we move forward, or do we say that, okay, the physical location could be one, the virtual, the social media part of it is another, and then maybe we have, maybe even have another separate entity onto that, you know? So how does the rest of council look at this? I mean, we kind of need to move forward on this, especially because we're entering that time of year where we need to be making some decisions and moving forward on it. I mean, I like the idea, unless we get some other, what's that? Well, Tanya does, okay.
Tanya.
Yes, let's listen to what Tanya has to say.
Hey, am I on?
Yep, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you again. So I just wanted to remind you about the proposal that we are working on to create a visitor interface within the Carnegie facility. And I know that doesn't address the immediate needs today, but we're as a team really excited about that facility and super excited about working with the council to make that a reality. And I think, I'm not sure if you are all aware that we have been awarded a sizable grant, $250,000 in partnership with you to get the project shovel ready so that we can go forward into the next phase of development and hopefully get it moving on a much faster trajectory. But just wanted to remind you that that primary component in the rehabilitation and reuse strategy included a visitor's interface.
So, yeah.
Can I speak from the chamber's perspective?
Yes, absolutely.
So we have been in very, very close communication with Tanya and her entire team and the entire Discover Siskiyou team.
And she froze.
You froze up. It'll come back on in 2 seconds. It's happening, by the way, at intervals of 10 minutes exactly.
Oh, really?
Not every time, but yeah. 6:29.
Internet connection is unstable.
Right.
I thought we were supposed to have a little bit.
It must be me.
Crystal, you have to start over.
Start over, okay. So we've been in close conversations with Tanya and her entire team and all of Discover Siskiyou about the office location, separating tourism from commerce, but having them be closely collaborative. Because of the needs of the business community specifically in North Siskiyou County are so great, especially coming out of COVID. There's a lot of resilience in just getting back on their feet, support that they need. So trying to do both of those things as closely as possible, but without stepping over each other. So I feel like we have a wonderful working relationship and a great respect for one another. They are doing an amazing job on the tourism specific piece of it. We are not focusing on that as much. We are supporting them in every way possible. Right now, because they have all the brochures and that type of stuff, I forward everything to them and they send it out. So we are working very, very closely together. We don't have an office space right now that is part of our plan. But right now, I can tell you from a chamber perspective, the greatest need outside of tourism, which I understand is the discussion that we're having. However, we have a tremendous commerce need for people on the field. When I walk in and I sit down with a business owner, their response to just having somebody come into their place of business and listen to their needs and what they want and to love them through this has been astounding. So we have been very focused on that. They have been very focused on tourism, but we have a lot of conversation about eventually long-term officing together, but definitely having a little bit more delineation in the chamber not being in the tourism business because Discover Siskiyou is doing such a fabulous job with that already, if that makes sense.
That's good. I like to hear that working together seems to be would be a valuable teamwork on that aspect. Joan?
Yes, I feel very confident in our ability to work together as a team, and I feel like that we communicate very well and are definitely meeting the needs, even though it's a little pattywanked right now, but in the long run, I do feel like we are definitely collaborating and have the same vision of where we're going.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you, Crystal. I feel like our efforts should be bifurcated. I agree. There needs to be some local, but we can't just always preach to our own selves. Talking about balance. Yes, so the balance, that the bifurcation I'm talking about, the balance is that I agree that we need to have something local, but we need to reach out to the world about coming to see all of our beautiful hiking trails and, you know, our whitewater rafting and our fishing and, you know, all the wonderful things that we have here. And the only way that we can do that, honestly, is by marketing to the world. So we have to balance. You're absolutely right. We have to have local and we have to have outreach. And so that's what we need to figure out how to do the balance.
How to do that, yeah.
So it's not just events, and it's not just local, and it's not just marketing. It's got to be a combination.
It does, and maybe this looks like two different things, just like we were just saying with events. Maybe we have, you know, one person or one entity do this, one entity do this, just like they're basically presenting to us right now the same basic thing. That one entity could do this part, another entity could be involved in this part. I guess the one thing we need to look at though is to get back to what we were talking about is this year again. This year, we need to focus on how that will look. Carnegie Hall.
We're 2 years out on that.
Yeah, so
You
we're-
think 2 years out, Tanya? 2 years out on Carnegie being open.
Yeah, so that's, okay, great, that's another one of those strategic plans for the future, knowing that, okay, Carnegie might be a partnership, maybe looks like a partnership between the EDC, Siskiyou EDC, and the Chamber of Commerce. Maybe that is a partnership that can work out there, and that might bring in the off the road tourism to come in and get brochures and do that sort of thing. This year, what do we look at? What's now? Now, yeah, we do need to do the social media, the big part of that. That's given. We still need a walk-in place to come summertime. So as I guess that's the next thing that we need to address as a council. Do we go do we get another presentation from?
Well, we
from
already have
Grace?
Grace, we already have Collier, and Collier has all the brochures.
Correct.
And we do support Collier, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So we already have that. So are we looking at having 2 locations?
Well, we always have had 2 locations.
Yeah, no. but we-
Yeah, we always have the Chamber of Commerce
That's right.
and Poly Restaurant, so we always have 2. And I don't see, I mean, going back to, you know, what Debbie said about museum and I think if they're willing, if they're willing to take it on.
It was Grace, it's not mine.
No, if they're willing to take it on.
If that's the case, you need more signage, but people have a hard time finding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have to have some type of sign. No, I agree.
And I'm not so sure, I mean, having been a member for 30 years of not only this, but California Historical Society, San Diego, all the ones I've been involved in, I am not so sure that the Historical Society is the right fit for us. And knowing how they run and how the volunteers run for us to be able to let people and their hours and everything, that people go there to get information.
Not the same entity, the Historical Society and the museum are two
separate-
different groups.
2 totally different groups.
Is the museum open 5 days a week now or 7?
No.
No, they're not.
But that-
Part of it is due to funding, but I don't think it would hurt to have the museum present an offer.
Yeah, no, I agree. Is the council open for that too?
I think
to
we're
have-
open for all presentations
Yeah,
right
obviously.
now, and I think that'll be part of the.
Yeah, I don't think that I'd be open to see it. I don't think it starting off, it's a good idea. Having been a member over there, having used it, having.
Not historical though, the museum, Siskiyou County Museum.
Understand. Okay. And the museum has almost probably more limited resource than the Historical Society. I've been involved in it since I moved here 36 years ago. Big supporter of it, when Mike Hendricks had it, he's the one that got me into it. And I'm not so sure, again, from a from a municipal standpoint, that a museum or historical society, so I'll slash no historical, but if the museum here in town is the best place to have people come in and get ideas about where to go, what to see, where to eat, what to do. Right.
I don't see Nancy on here anymore, but you guys realize that's a Siskiyou County museum,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And they fund it.
Yeah, and they fund it very, very meagerly.
Oh, I know. They fund it.
Very meagerly. That was happening. So they are lucky to have a museum of that quality in a city of 7,000 people.
Okay, so let's separate this again one last time. So we would like some of these entities then to basically break it down to 2 different things. Tourism in the social media aspect and tourism in the physical walk-in location aspect, correct? Is that what we're all leaning towards? Those 2 different things, and it can be 2 different entities doing these 2 different things. But that's what we're leaning towards, correct?
Right.
Okay.
I think e-tourism is a step above.
Oh, yeah.
Local tourism, people coming off the street.
Oh, yeah.
Because anybody under 40 is going, I'm not, anybody under 40 is going to e-tour.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my
So
daughter
that-
doesn't go anywhere in New York. She doesn't go upstate New York, 200 miles, and she hasn't gone to the e-tourist board and said, this is where we're backpacking, this is where we're hiking. When they get there, they don't go into town, they don't go, they get right on the trails and they're backpacking for the week. Yeah. Same
So I
thing.
guess getting back to that, that's what I was talking about as far as social media version of that would be, however you want to look at that.
Social media is more powerful.
And,
What's that?
the location for brochures, this could all be through the museum, the chamber, CTC. I mean, all of them should be presenting their
Yes,
ideas.
correct.
Yes.
So the walk-in pamphlet location and a physical person that would say, go visit this, go visit that. And then we have the social media version of it, like that you can go and find out on the internet and do that. So those are the 2 avenues we want to break it down as, correct?
And I'd be amenable to hearing the director of the museum come and make a presentation on
Yeah.
on how they're gonna do it.
Oh, yeah.
I would also like to know where they're gonna put it, because they have a, I don't know if you go in there much, they have a store, pretty limited, and that's where they make most of their money. Is, you know, in the museum and in the historical site, both selling off it.
I would
And
also
so
like
you're
to hear
going to
hours.
be, you are going to be combining, whether you want it or not, you're going to be combining the historical society with the museum, because they operate out of the same building, they,
Not anymore.
They're not on site.
Yeah, they're different, for sure.
So they moved the historical society out of the back room, all the stuff is gone.
There's.
Right. They got a divorce.
So what,
I see.
what I'm hearing
So let's,
is
yeah,
that,
let's,
is that it would be good to have the historical or the museum, talk to us about what they're doing, because there seems to be a lot of confusion and information that's either past or present or future.
Right.
It's not all the same.
that would be part of it, like I said, we need,
Is that
through some of these entities, we would like to.
I'd
That
like
would
to have
be
the
the direction for you is to reach out to these entities, and next step would be to have a presentation on what they could move forward on tourism as a social media aspect and tourism as a walk-in location, if anybody wants to do that, which that would include the museum and all that stuff, so. Is that clear?
I think so, and then I want to make sure that if you're picturing I think that the virtual side,
Virtual.
there's a lot to that.
Yeah.
When I think of the physical location, I'm looking at brochures, and brochures usually are a couple of kinds. One is Yreka centric, and I don't even know if we still have published the Yreka. Is there a Yreka brochure as TQC right now?
No, the chamber used to do it.
The chamber used to do it.
Right,
If
that's true.
there's some up there, you can. They're all.
Okay, all right, so one of the things is that if there's a physical, basically the top 5 things to do in Yreka.
Our crossing was a little part.
Yeah, it was really cool until he spoke gold. And
Gold, yeah.
so, okay, so I think that there's some moving parts to that, but it sounds like we need a little bit more information about the museum on that.
Okay.
And then the virtual, it sounds like Discover Siskiyou is probably the place to go and talk about what that looks like. And then I think that there may need to be, when we're talking about the strategy for tourism events and that sort of thing, there may need to be a discussion about how you, I remember Brent Pass used to own everything from the caves over by the coast up to Diamond Lake and Crater Lake.
Oh, yeah.
They own all of it. We're in the middle of
Yeah.
everything. So I know that that's part of what Discover Siskiyou is doing.
And that's what we need to be, as Yreka be, do the same thing, it's just like Mount Shasta is claiming to be, the stop for, or, for the trails, for the, PCT, yeah.
Sure.
And it's like, really, that is.
We're the stop for Pluto Cave, Wind Cave,
Yeah, but the ski loggers are going to teach this year. They used to come here, ski loggers and cave people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I think
2000
I
people.
think I'm gonna do what you want, but I think it's a lot fuzzier than it seems like, so we'll have to work on that.
Okay, so let's move on to the last one, because it's getting late here. Business services says including training, seminars, workshops, not always, there in the past, that was, when we were doing it back years ago, was part of the chamber also on that aspect. So I guess I'd like to open that up to the members of the audience there and speak on that. And I see Crystal's got her hand up and spoken.
Yes. So that is really the focus that we want to have moving forward, is the commerce business service side of it. We have been collaborating all across the county with the other chambers and with the Economic Development Council, with SmartWorks, with Siskiyou Works, the Smart Center, all of the resources that are out there, just trying to put the database together around who our customers are, focusing really the value that the chamber is going to bring to North Siskiyou County moving forward, specifically to Yreka, is to improve the tax base and revenue of our businesses and the success of our businesses. That is really the focus that everything we are doing is around raising them up to be better business owners, more informed, more educated, to have we've talked a lot with Discover Siskiyou and EDC around something that we're calling the Siskiyou County Experience, where we have a hospitality approach of this is how we greet people in Siskiyou County, this is how we pour wine, this is how we hand the menus. We've been discussing all kinds of things to streamline that experience. So yes, we are bringing the tourism piece into the business piece. But for businesses to be successful, they have to answer their phones, they have to be properly staffed. And there's so many resources to help them do that that they are not aware of. I have spent days and days in the last 6 weeks educating business owners about how the Smart Center works, and that they actually train them, and that they provide transportation if there's a barrier to transportation, and they pay for their training, and they pay, I mean, there's so many resources that must be spent in Siskiyou County. So I'm just trying as a chamber to streamline that down and not recreate the wheel, but to maximize the dollars that are already being spent, and work together with everything from Siskiyou Works and their education piece, from the young to the old, and developing a volunteer network around that, and really, really focusing on leadership training, what it means to be a business owner in Siskiyou County. What does success look like for us specifically? How do we treat our consumers, and how do we treat our residents? And in a way that is welcoming and positive and uplifting, and bring success to everyone. So when we are able to rise that tide, everybody will be lifted up together. So I think also with our expansion of looking at all of northern Siskiyou County, we're looking at, and already in conversations with the Valley, Scott Valley, restaurants over there. How can we increase transportation and events to help people get from here to there and back safely? All kinds of things around that. But it's specifically, if our businesses are not successful, and they don't have the tools to be successful, and they don't have what they need, especially coming out of COVID, to help them have a vision, have a plan, build a budget, market themselves. Those are skills that we really, really need to work on across northern Siskiyou County in order for us to all have a lot greater success. That is where our entire focus is. And again, it's all in collaboration with the Economic Development Council and what they're doing, the small business, what they're doing, Discover Siskiyou, what they're doing, what the Smart Center is doing, what Siskiyou Works is doing. And we are in collaboration with Weed and Mount Shasta chambers, and just raising that tide up and helping everybody understand what success looks like in Siskiyou County. And it's very closely tied to that Siskiyou County experience that we've been talking about, of how do we create a different culture that is more servant-based and having an attitude that's very welcoming, rather than we are just getting by and that's good enough, because that isn't going to be what takes us to the next level. So that's really our focus. That's where we're spending most of our time. I am literally going to businesses door to door and talking through, what are your issues that you're facing? What do you need help with immediately? What would you do differently if you had it to do over, and how can we change that moving forward? So really having some meaningful conversations around what success looks like. Why did you get into this in the first place? Why are you still doing it? And how do you make money? And those are some conversations that they literally, their minds are being blown, because it's really adding value to what they're trying to do in their businesses. And so we're really reaching out to some major stakeholders for some investment in that, but also just support from all of you in our efforts to collaborate with resources that already have income streams moving toward them, and allowing us to really focus on what will, in a very short period of time, turn around the vibe of what it means to own a business in Siskiyou County, specifically in the hub of Yreka. So that's where we're at. That's the resources that we need. And a lot of it right now, to be honest with you, is just going out and listening and asking questions. Every day I go out and listen and ask questions. I'm presenting, I'm listening to feedback from as many sectors as I can, from as many businesses as I can in every area of North Siskiyou County, and listen.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Or if you look at the time, it's 6:49.
Yes.
So is it just at the end of 8 and the beginning of 9 that it goes for a few seconds?
Right, and that connection is unstable.
Yeah, we're gonna have an electrician here looking to see what is causing it.
Are you back, Crystal?
We're
You
supposed to have
Crystal?
enough bandwidth. because of this.
You back, Crystal?
No, don't stay.
I'm here.
We just work with it. Councilman Corey Middleton, I just want to ask a question for Crystal is, all the things you said are great, and, so the membership was at a pretty good high, like 3 years ago, 300 plus. It went completely down, significantly. So what, when you're out talking to businesses, and I'm sure they're excited to see a fresh face, ideas and bringing things to the businesses, are they excited to rejoin? Have they heard positive about rejoining, about deciding change?
Yes.
And having new members? Are you?
Yes.
Your goal to bring it back to where it was or more?
I believe we will bring it to much more than it has ever been from a membership perspective in the past, but it's also, it isn't, what I'm really selling is a two-way relationship. It isn't us, like everybody's gonna have to work together and everybody needs to start having a dialogue about what this means for all of us. It isn't just us having, a magic pot that we can spew out magic everywhere. It is really about hard work and dialogue, and that's what people are buying into. That's what they're getting excited about, because I'm saying we need you. You are part of the success. This isn't, I don't have a magic wand. This is us helping you be successful in your business, and then it's bringing business to business, businesses helping businesses. So when we all start working together, and that's really, I see us as the liaison to facilitating all of that communication, all of those action teams, all of those people. That is really what I feel like the chamber direction and the long-term vision is. If we can facilitate that, magic will happen, because they are wanting to do things differently. I can tell you, they want a different vibe. They want a different, but they don't know how to get it. They don't know what to do to start. How do I turn this around? Or how do I think bigger or differently? And how do I use social media to my, they have, I hate to say this, but they're very limited in the resources to even market themselves. And how do they do that without spending a bunch of money and using social media to their advantage? So those are just some basic little things that is exciting to them. So yes, I'm not doing a hard sale. I'm doing we are all in this together, and we all have to work hard. All have to work hard and work together in order for us to start having a different vision and having a different, the way we feel about ourselves, the confidence we have in our businesses. Instead of somebody opens a new business and the first thing out of somebody's mouth is, well, let's see how long that lasts. Instead, having a very positive approach of, yay, we have someone new willing to take a chance. What can we do to support them? So we as a chamber, what can we do to have a cash mob? What can we do to get people in there? How can we educate our residents and consumers on what's new? Who's doing what? Who's moving? Who got promoted? All those things. It's all just communication and having a liaison between and pulling it all together. That's all I'm trying to do, is pull it together and wrap it up with a pretty bow. And it really will work if we have the infrastructure in place to be out in the field helping businesses be more successful. That is hands down.
The partnership, I think, is with us as well. So I think we all, like you said, we all need to work together to achieve better and greater things for Yreka. I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Tanya, you had your hand up earlier. Do you want to comment on something?
Sure, I would be remiss if I didn't chime in on this topic. And I just want to say thank you again to Crystal. I feel like we're having like a girlfriend moment. She's such a fresh air for us. There's always plenty of work to go around in this space of business support and services directly targeted to businesses. And so we're always happy to have another partner to help us deliver business support services. I would share with you, I know we're going to be in front of council here, like I think in a couple of weeks, doing our regular report to you. So I don't want to take your time and kind of like go over what you're going to hear soon. But I would just say that right now our team's been really hyper-focused, continues to stay very hyper-focused on working with our small businesses through our Small Business Development Center network to help deliver relief funding. And we've been just, as Crystal said, the one-on-one contact with the businesses has been kind of the most successful tact. And sometimes you have to talk to folks 2 and 3 times before they remember that you talked to them for the first time. But we have also started to develop through the SBDC network. There's a ton of resources available that really anything from basic business development and planning to all the way to very specialized technology and human resources and financing that can be brought available to our businesses. It's just a matter of connecting the dots between the resources and the businesses. And again, happy really to have another partner in that space. Our team has started to do two initiatives that I think you might find to be really cool. And then I actually have an ask for you, for council. The 2 initiatives that I think you might find really cool is we've focused some energies on developing content and curriculum around digital marketplace strategies. Because when you look at certainly our small businesses in Siskiyou County, the ones that are successful have really excelled during this pandemic and are on a trajectory for continued success are those that have really embraced strategies in the digital marketplace. And that spans a lot of things from marketing to actually doing digital commerce to no touch interactions to you name it. As we come out of the pandemic, that's going to be married with the experiences that we've spent the last hour talking about. And so I think your workshop tonight positions us really well for being able to embrace that new economy. The other thing that our team did that I think really the Yreka Lodging Properties championed this in a way that was fantastic is a work from home. Actually, let me restate that, a WFH hashtag WFH campaign, which actually our interpretation is work from here. And the idea was to use that as our campaign to really blend the resources that we have to promote tourism into those resources that promote talent and business investment in Siskiyou and in Yreka. And like I said, Yreka really championed that message and carried it to our team and embraced it. A couple quick asks for you that have been super successful for us. And through the pandemic, there have been a couple of times when, whether it was a mayor or a city manager or some key official from the city who actually helped pen communication to our businesses, that was really wonderful. You did everything from putting information in your utility bills to signing a letter that we sent out electronically to Yreka businesses. And that just added cred to the work that we do and buy-in and ownership. So anytime you can do that and step forward and take a leadership role on behalf of Yreka businesses, I think that really is a fantastic way to focus your energies. And that could even be as simple as if you hear somebody or interact with a business in Yreka, say, hey, did you reach out to these folks that have resources available to you? Let me make that connection happen. So that's kind of my ask back to you. And we're also, like I said, we're going to be in front of you in just a short, I can't remember if it's 2 weeks, whenever your next council is, I think we're on the agenda, so I won't take up much more of your time, but we're also really, really willing to hear feedback. So yeah, communication is everything. So thanks again.
Thank you, Tanya. Joe?
I really like your thoughts about developing content. Mr. Mayor, you remember when we were involved in the chamber and the chamber purchased, it was 100 years ago, or at least 10. We developed content and did an advertisement in Enjoy magazine. Remember that?
Yes.
And we did through the chamber, so Crystal, listen up, and Chris, through the chamber at that time, we bought advertisement on activities that were going on, businesses, things that were happening here. So I really liked your idea about developing content for marketing, getting help from all of you, as well as businesses, any way that we can promote our area. We need to do.
Sure. So moving forward, so we'll wrap this up. I want to be done by 7, so I think we're right there where we need to be, so it's good. The business aspect of it, what do we want to see brought back to the council? No, the business services, that's the third topic.
That's the training, seminars, workshops, all that kind of stuff. So, I think both of the organizations that we can, all 3 of them, well, there's just 2, that we see here have done business training, and seminars and workshops.
Yes.
So. And we're, oh yeah, and absolutely, and why did you remember when we had the, at college, we borrowed the college computer space and literally taught businesses how to use the internet to promote their businesses. That was through the change.
Yeah, I see.
Now, and I know that EDC has done some training with businesses as well, so maybe we should let them tell us what they like.
As far as.
Yeah, to promote, training seminar and workshops for businesses, services.
So in other words, let them do a presentation on that. Like so.
Yeah, well, it sounds like the chamber, Crystal is asking the businesses what they want, and if they base their curriculum on that, then it'll be covered.
Correct.
Well, not necessarily, that's partial.
Partially.
So,
I've got that down.
so I'm almost hearing, it seems like that the entities are headed in the right direction.
Yes.
Perhaps we can just say, thank you, let us know how we can support it.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think.
Because I heard some of the, we have in the past advertised directly. We found out that we don't have a lot of emails, so that doesn't work very well, but anyway. So, but that's kind of what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah, no, I think you're on the right track.
Okay.
Let the experts tell us, yeah.
Okay, and there may be some facility type things where, but,
Well, I like the idea of the strategic planning where all this would come into play. And I heard a volunteer facilitator, I did hear a volunteer facilitator talking. Corey left right after that.
Okay. Anything else as council we want to move forward on or no? Good.
Good.
Okay.
Any last words from
Yes.
anybody on the screen? No last words, we talked them out. We talked out, so are we. Everybody's hungry, right? Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Everybody. Yes, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you all. I think we're done.
Yes, this meeting is adjourned for the special meeting for the school council.
Love the idea of working with the changes doing like businesses. Who is that from? Arthur, who is that? Oh,
Nikki.
okay. And then Chris Thomas, what did Chris say? Well, you guys have a class, see what. But I was executive director.
I know, give them a bell.
We had Tiffany. Elizabeth.